guys, it's Ghosdee. Welcome back to my channel. This week I'm going to be ranking the Halloween franchise. Happy October! I hope that you guys are staying creepy and watching some great Halloween films this season. One horror film that gets me in the Halloween mood is Halloween. I actually watch this movie every night on October 1st, which is also the night before my birthday, to celebrate my birthday and to celebrate entering the season. I just think that it's the ultimate Halloween film and I love it. I've been meaning to cover this franchise on my channel since I started my channel, but I never got around to it. There's fucking 11 films and then there's a 12th one coming out on Friday, which I do have my tickets for and I'm very excited for. This franchise is very long and I was intimidated by that, but I finally decided I was gonna do it, and my experience watching these films were not what I expected. I thought I was going to fall in love with the franchise, and I can't say that I did, and I was honestly bored for a lot of these movies, I'm not going to lie. Nonetheless, I still have a greater appreciation for the movies in entirety and some of the movies within the franchise. So without further ado, here's my rankings of the Halloween franchise. Halloween 2, 2009. But I said this before and I'll say it again, I'm not a huge Rob Zombie fan. I don't think he's bad. It's just he has a very specific style that he's kind of created with his own films and I'm just not into it. I was already going into this skeptical and this was one of the Halloween movies that I hadn't seen before. After watching the first Halloween Rob Zombie film, I was expecting it to be similar and it was nothing like it. It was so bad. I did not have fun. We spent a lot of time with this Laurie. Forgive me, I don't know the actress's name. I'm not a fan of her. I don't like the way she plays Laurie. I didn't like the way she played Laurie in the first one. I don't like the way she plays Laurie in this one. And I don't think that they portrayed her battles with PTSD and everything that's going on with her situation. I just don't think that they did that well. Also, in the remake of Halloween 2, I think Loomis is a great character in general in the series, and to see him be this fucking diva, like just annoying as diva celebrity, I have a career, I'm famous, over the Michael Myers situation, that was just so annoying. And I just wasn't interested in it, and all of that Rob Zombie tries to do, I'm just not into that, so it's gonna be a no for me. It's currently sitting at 2.3 stars on Letterboxd and I gave it 2 stars. Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers. I don't know what kind of a fever dream this movie fucking was. I love Jamie as a character and they recast her and I just had such a problem with that. Like, it just did not feel like the Jamie that I loved watching in 4 and 5. Also, this whole cult curse thing that's going on, I don't understand why they introduced that. In general, these movies just try to do so much that stray away from the original, and that is part of the reason why it's hard for me to get to the series, because I just wanted to watch what I saw in the first movie, and you don't really get that anywhere else. What was even going on in this movie? Now, I will say one thing that I did like about Halloween 6, The Curse of Michael Myers, is Loomis' appearance. I like Loomis. He's a fucking loony dude and he's repetitive and says the same shit and nobody ever listens to him, but he's always right. I do genuinely like his character and that's definitely a plus for me in this. Halloween 6 was very similar to Rob Zombie's Halloween 2. Like, it just felt like it was just so far from the original. Too much was happening and it was also kind of boring. I'm not even gonna lie. Like, how are you gonna introduce cult shit and be boring? This movie is currently sitting at 2.1 stars on Letterboxd and I gave it 2 stars. Halloween 2, 1982. I had never seen this movie before watching it now, and I was very excited to watch this because I knew that this was the first immediate sequel to the original Halloween movie. I know that H2O is also an immediate sequel to the original Halloween movie. So I was excited to see this one because I hadn't seen an over iteration of this, and I feel like this franchise is just many iterations of the same story. And that's just how I feel about it, and that's honestly how I'm basing these rankings. So I was excited for it, but I was honestly bored, and I think that had to do with the fact that Laurie was MIA for most of this. It just felt like everybody was just talking about what we had already learned in the first film. It felt like it was explaining a little bit too much for me as well, because not to compare it to the first film, but what I love about the first Halloween is the mystery, the simplicity about it. I feel like this film just took away all of that, and it was so unnecessary. And I understand that John Carpenter was originally trying to create self-contained films for a larger series of Halloween movies that were different stories that took place on Halloween. I understand that's what he was originally going for, but like people love this so much, obviously they created a sequel. I just felt like this movie wasn't needed and I wasn't really interested in it. I did peep the subtle changes in the score and they were perfect. I can say that I really love the kill in the hot tub in this movie, mostly because like Michael used the same kills. He's like the most boring serial killer ever. Yeah, other than that, I could have gone without the movie. This movie is currently sitting at 3.2 stars on Letterboxd and I gave it 2.5 stars. Halloween, Season of the Witch. I know some people wouldn't include this movie on this list, but I wanted to rank the movies as a whole, not just the Michael Myers storyline. I heard great things about this film, so I was really looking forward to it. I don't hate it. It's not really my vibe though. I thought it would be. I thought it would like be my vibe of camp, but I like more slashery meta horror camp. And this was like sci-fi camp. The like Irish dictator dude, like I don't know, that was kind of annoying. But I did like the mask. Like I like that whole storyline and that annoying ass commercial. I did like that. Also, I really hated the protagonist, Dan, the doctor. Like, he was just so pitiful. I also generally don't like white male leads. I don't like movies where it's white male leads. This doesn't resonate with me. And to make it worse, his relationship with Ellie was so uncomfortable to me. Like, I cannot believe that was the romance that we got. I don't think it's a bad movie, and I understand why people fuck with it. It's just, like, not my vibe. This movie is currently sitting at 3 stars on Letterboxd, and I gave it 2.5 stars on Letterboxd. Halloween 5, The Revenge of Michael Myers. Halloween 5 was one of my favorite Halloween movies, and I would proudly say that without even realizing what the fuck I was saying. There are things I still like about it. I mean, I love Jamie. I love that she's in it. I especially love that sequence where she's being chased by Michael Myers and she goes through the chute. And I think I was just holding on to that because the rest of the movie is absolutely just not good. Just completely lacking everything that I loved about these films. I don't understand why Jamie's mute. This is not the movie that I wanted it to be, which kind of makes me sad. This movie is currently sitting at 2.2 stars on Letterboxd and I gave it 2 stars on Letterboxd. Halloween Resurrection. I know that this is kind of high up, guys, but hear me out. Busta Rhymes? Do I need to say more? No, I'm kidding. I do love Busta Rhymes though. But what I love about this film is that it's so ahead of its time as far as like streaming everything. I think that concept is great. The script is not tight, y'all. I think that the characters are interesting enough as well. I can't say the same for the protagonist, but like all the other characters are pretty cool. I can't remember the redhead girl's name, but I liked her. Her reasoning for being a part of the experiment was kind of interesting. I also really don't fuck with this intro. I know they had to get out of the way, and I know that like Jamie wanted to like end it. It just seems so like pointless. Halloween Resurrection is a great example of a so bad it's good. That's also why this is higher up on my list. It was at least entertaining. This movie is sitting at 1.7 stars on Letterboxd and I gave it 2.5 stars. Halloween 2007. Again, being the not biggest Rob Zombie fan, went into this really skeptical. I actually made a pact with myself saying that I would never watch these, but I'm working on being a more open person because like why? Even if I don't really like it, it's worth trying out the film because you never know. And honestly, this was kind of a pleasant surprise for me. I liked this more than I thought I would. You definitely get the Rob Zombie-ness in it. I mean, we open up with the scene of this toxic ass, hillbilly ass family. I'm not a big fan of that. I could have gone without the whole backstory. I could have just watched him recreate the original Halloween, because I think he did such a great job in that second half. And the second half of the movie is so much more stronger to me, because it was just like an updated recreation, gorier version of Halloween. I mean, I liked some things about learning about his childhood, but I especially hated that he talked. It never made sense for me for Michael to ever talk. I didn't like how they portrayed Judith. They didn't have to make her so fucking like overtly sexual. Like, I don't know. I think that they like pushed that too much to make me uncomfortable. I think I would actually watch it again, although it was long, because these Rob Zombie Halloween movies are fucking long. This movie is currently sitting at 2.7 stars on Letterboxd, and I gave it 3.5 stars. Halloween H2O, the 20th anniversary. Being the 90s horror enthusiast that I am, I was definitely looking forward to revisit this one. I remember watching this one as a kid and liking it. I'm pretty sure I revisited sometime during my teen years, but I was confident that I would still like this movie, and I do. That Kevin Williamson take, that Scream-esque meta horror with the Michael Myers Laurie story.
That's the shit I fucking do like.
The setting, I talked about this in Cry With. Fucking, you know, prep school. Jamie Lee Curtis acting her ass off as Laurie Strode as she struggles with like addiction and her trauma. Side note, I watched a video that Jamie Lee said about how H2O became a thing and how this was her idea and like what she really wanted. She wanted this to be Laurie's like comeback and getting rid of her demons, like truly just ending this. Because she was an EP, that did not happen. Now I think that's what's really happening with this current series. I do appreciate H2O. I do appreciate H2O because I think they were trying to do something really great, and they did do something great, but I mean, some of it is a miss. LL Cool J is amazing in this. I love him. I love the humor. Josh Hartnett and his like weird ass hair. I don't know, that was so 90s, but that's like how he looked in the faculty too, and I love the faculty. At some point, the opening credits of these films stopped being interesting, although the first one, the opening credits is so amazing. So the opening credits in H2O I think were great, and I really appreciated that because I'm like, thank God. I love this film, and it feels comfortable for me, for sure. The rating for H2O on Letterboxd is 2.8 stars. And I gave this 3.5 stars on Letterboxd. Halloween 2018. I saw this one in theaters when it came out, obviously. Wasn't like the hugest fan, but I loved this film. So I was excited to revisit it, and I knew I would like this film, and I expected this to be higher on the list. It keeps the essence of the original Halloween film, probably the most in the entire series, as far as like not only focusing on creating suspense with utilizing music, but also color and lighting and setting, which is so important in the first one, and a lot of these films lack that. We got John Carpenter back, not only with the music, but he's a producer, and I think that was so important and essential to making this movie what it is. I can't say I didn't really like the intro scene. It makes me uncomfortable. I'm in a weird space right now when it comes to viewing mental hospitals that way, for like using that as a scare, using a mental hospital and like its patients to create scares. I'm not sure how I feel about that. Not only is that not effective for me as a scare, I just don't know how I feel about that ethically. So I can say that like the intro is like questionable for me, and the podcast characters suck, but that gas station kill is so great. It actually reminds me a lot of the gas station kill. We get a lot of Laurie to see her background and to show how complicated it is to like fucking have trauma. But then you understand that her daughter is just traumatized herself, and everybody's just working through it, and they come together and defeat, you know, or at least work to defeat Michael Myers. I just think that that's a beautiful story, and it's probably one of the more interesting plot lines out of all these movies. This movie is currently sitting at 3.3 stars on Letterboxd, and I gave it 4.5 stars on Letterboxd. Halloween 4, The Return of Michael Myers. I watched Halloween 4 before I watched the original Halloween movie. Every October, this movie would be on. They would play the first movie, the 4th movie and the 5th one. I never saw the 2nd one on cable, but I've seen the 1st one, the 4th one, and the 5th one on cable so many times. Not only does this capture the essence of the original Halloween film, like the 2018 sequel, but Jamie is amazing as a protagonist. Danielle Harris does a great job. We feel so bad for her. This little girl's being bullied. Loomis is in this. This is my favorite version of Loomis. I feel like he's just so protective of Jamie for some reason. The mask is awful though. This film is currently sitting at 2.8 stars on Letterboxd, and I gave it 5 stars on Letterboxd. Halloween. Halloween is the perfect 70s slasher film. When I watch 70s slashers specifically, I looked for the things that worked for me in this movie. John Carpenter's score is beautiful. It's so haunting. This score does something to this movie that scores don't always do to movies. I understand why they utilize it for the rest of the series because it fucking works. I love the atmosphere. It is so Halloween. It is so Halloween. The pumpkins, the leaves. And those leaves weren't even real because this movie was filmed in California in this fucking summer. So the leaves weren't real. They're prop leaves, but they were able to create the perfect Halloween evening. And these kills aren't too gory, but they are so hard to sit through because usually the music is like gone and you just hear the suffering of the actors, or you hear the suffering of the characters, and that's so creepy to me. I gotta give it up for my favorite kills, Annie in the car and oh boy stabbed in the wall, which that kill that they ran with for the rest of the fucking series because you see it everywhere. Jamie Lee Curtis, Laurie Strode is probably my second favorite final girl. Laurie is up there because she is a badass. And that's a wrap on the Halloween series. Well, kinda, because I'm seeing the new one next Friday. I may or may not put out a review on that one. I might just do like a little bit on Instagram TV because I'm gonna try and do like brief reviews on Instagram TV now. Oh, I gave this Halloween 5 stars and it's sitting at 3.9 stars on Letterboxd. This series was fucking a lot. It felt like a chore to watch at times, I'm not gonna lie, because of how many movies it is. But all in all, it wasn't a bad series to visit. Thanks guys for watching this video. If you liked it, you can give it a thumbs up and be sure to subscribe to my channel. You can always hit the bell to be notified whenever I release new videos. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Disco Llama, Twitter at Ghosdee, and Letterboxd at Ghosdee. I'll see you guys in the next video. Be sure to follow me on Instagram at Disco Llama, Twitter at Ghosdee, and Letterboxd at Ghosdee. I'll see you guys in the next video.